Fair enough. So thank you everybody for joining for today's session, and I'm sure you have received my mail, and that's how you are there for joining for today's session. So before formally I begin, I assume that you have completed the survey which we have shared in the screen, and if you have not completed, that's okay. We'll share you an email. Do share your thoughts. This has been survey which we have been conducting almost. Uh, I think 5 months now when the lockdown started. So we'll be also sharing, Sai will be covering the insight from this survey also. So all your responses are very, very much valuable. Do complete this survey. It will also help us in understanding the challenges at your individual level and at your organization level. Now with this, I will be the host for the session. My name is Virendra Singh Rathod, and I'm the co-founder for Challenging Horizons. Along with me, I have today's speaker, Sai Kumar Chandran, who has been on our as a senior partner for Challenging Horizons, looking after majorly the leadership intervention and strategic intervention. I'll be talking more about his profile in coming slides. Now, to formally begin this session, I just wanted to share, as an organization, what keep us driving and what is our belief system, and how this all learning and development, we are into this learning and development because we believe that every individual, he comes with some amount of a potential, and if that potential can be nurtured well and given a right direction, it can create tremendous benefits for that individual and the society around it. So any intervention, when we are driving, we keep this thought process in mind while conducting any session or any interventions. So as an organization, what we do, we are into training and consulting. In training, we provide our solutions at leadership level, manager level, individual levels, and specifically for entrepreneurs also. We also have our consulting wing. In the consulting, we specifically focus on L&D consulting and business consulting. So what do I mean by business consulting? When an organization want to achieve a particular business goal and they feel that learning can add a lot of value in terms of achieving that business goal. So we partner with the organization, first understand, deep dive into understanding what are the business goal an organization want to achieve, and design the entire intervention around that. Just a second.
Viren, just check your audio connection. It is mildly cutting in and out.
Is it?
Yeah. There's a mild cut in between. I'm not sure if it's the audio cable. Just check it before you go on speaking.
Is it better now?
For the time being, yeah. If you could just hold that cable stable.
Fair enough. And last but not least, we are one of few of the very rare organizations who have a technology blend. A lot of organization into technical training do have these kind of a technology support, which is LMS. So this is not an LMS where we have adopted. This is a LMS which we have created in-house. We also have an IT wing with that support. With their support, we have created this LMS. This LMS is named as Carry-On, and a lot of our clients are using it. What is the specific benefit of this LMS is a lot of LMS which are available in market majorly focus on the level one, that is transferring of the knowledge. We have included few features which can help to mitigate the challenges which all of us face, is how do I track and measure the change which happened post training program. So this is the LMS. We'll also share you some of the insight in mails which you'll be getting, so that you get what kind of an LMS we are promoting. It's almost more than 10 years we've been working with various organizations, and if I have to give a count, almost 200 plus organizations. We have worked in 19 different sectors. Our team consists of senior partners, researchers, content developer, consultant. Now, all this come and make a solution which can help you to achieve your individual and business goal. So in a nutshell, this is what we do. These are the few clients we have been working with them for almost more than 10 years. Now, not taking much time, let me set the theme for why all this webinar we started, and what is the context behind this. When the lockdown started, nobody how much day is it going to end. Immediately we have to adapt the new way of working, new way of interacting. A lot of changes has happened in this time. A lot of businesses have changed, the way we operate with our customers have changed, the way we operate with our employees have changed now. And to be very honest, very few organizations were ready for this change. And till now, most of the organizations are still struggling to find out what is the optimum way to operate in this environment. So as an organization, we thought, why don't we pick up? And in this entire process, there was a tsunami of webinar. I'm sure all of you have been experienced with various such webinars. A few were absolutely good, very contextual in nature, but most of them were just trying to fit into that space of digital learning ecosystem. And we, as a responsible organization, we thought, we whenever we are doing an offering to our clients or our participant, can we make it very, very much relevant and very contextual in nature, so it doesn't become another webinar for them. It can actually help them to take some input and give some direction in the current situation and manage these situations more effectively and efficient. So we came up with this theme called as Skill India Movement, and where we have identified 9 experts who will be coming over a period of time to deliver sessions which we have specifically chosen, which can help the individuals and organization leaders to manage things and succeed in their own profession. So that's the overall context and theme behind this Skill India movement. All these sessions are well crafted. A lot of thought has been gone behind creating these sessions, and today you'll witness one of the sessions. All these tools which you are going to share are again simple to use, easy to implement, and very, very much efficient while you are implementing in your workspace. So that's the overall theme. Every Tuesday and Friday we'll be conducting these sessions. So today is the first session, and let me just share what will be the agenda for this session. We'll be talking you or we'll be sharing some of the tools which can help you to manage this crisis. We are going to share some of our proprietary tool in this session, where you can go and readily use these tools, apply these tools. We'll be also sharing you some of the research work which has been done in this area in the form of articles. A lot of articles have been published. We'll also share these articles with you. And also, if you wanted to extend these session because see, this is an awareness session, it become really difficult to give everything in these sessions because of the content. So if you wish to engage with us for a longer duration, you wanted to go more deeper into these concepts, we'll also share how you can engage and partner with us. So that's the agenda for this session. And not taking much time, let me introduce our facilitator for today's session, Sai Kumar Chandran. Now, Sai comes with 22 years of rich experience. Now, the best part of Sai is he is a beautiful amalgamation of a business exposure and a very strong facilitation skills in the space of leadership and strategy. Sai himself has led various organizations, managed people from different nationality. So when Sai facilitates session, and today you'll witness that there's a lot of business element which comes into picture. Usually what happens in the learning sessions, there are a lot of learning, a lot of theories are there, but a practical relevance are question mark at time. So when a person comes with a rich business experience, is not only going to share the insight, but a very practical insights which can help an individual to apply. Now, that's more or less about Sai. And if I have to talk about Sai certification and the amount of research he has done, I think I'll eat up all the 90 minutes for this session. So I'll not take much time. And also, I just wanted to share, Sai is well-known thought leader in the space of leadership and HR. He has written many articles. The recent ones were published in People Matter, SHRM. We'll also share these links with you. So you'll see that the kind of research which goes behind creating this session. We don't believe in any copy paste content, and to my knowledge, none of our program will have that kind of an element. A lot of thought process goes behind while creating these sessions. A lot of research goes behind creating these sessions. A lot of customization goes behind these sessions to make it contextual in nature of any organization where we interact with. So this is more on Sai, and if I have to summarize Sai into one slide, I don't think I can have something better than this. A pure strategic, an entrepreneur at heart, thinker and innovator, psychologist, and number of people he have supported at leadership level through his research and in the space of psychology, coach and consultant to many, mentor and poet and writer. And we'll also share the beautiful quotes which Sai religiously write daily. You can access them on his LinkedIn profile and our company LinkedIn profile. He's a marathon runner, and not only marathon runner, he is, I think, Sai, when was the Ladakh barefoot marathon?
Sometime last year.
Yeah, so barefoot he has run a marathon, and that too in the most difficult terrains of our country, that's in Ladakh. A biker and a photographer, so all roll into one. You have all Sai next 90 minutes to share your insight and support all people who have been joining for this session, so that they can make best utilization of this time and get maximum insight from this session, which is leadership skills in uncertainty and crisis. All over to you, Sai.
Hey Viren, thank you for that quick introduction. I will project my slides. Viren, if you could take these off and allow the sharing from my side. Meanwhile, thank you, all of you who have taken your time off this afternoon to be with us. A couple of you are our colleagues. Hi, Prakash. Really good to see you here. And some of the others, we've worked with you in the past, and it's good to have the rest of you. I would just have a quick request of all of you. For those of you the bandwidth allows, and you are comfortable to switch on your camera, if you could do that, that sort of helps me to talk to and make a little bit of connection with all of you while we are talking. So just a quick request, if some of you could switch on your camera. Thank you, Adir. So good to see you. Others, a few others, you could be on camera. It always helps, because I'm also going to call on you to talk and interact. This is an interactive webinar. It's not going to be one way, so it helps. Hi, Simanchalam. Thank you for switching on your camera. Great. Thank you. Thank you. So the subject at hand today, and like you saw from Viren's introduction, is for us to talk about the uncertainty and crisis that prevails around us. And everything around us is really actually created twice, once in the mind and once in the physical world. So when we today talk about all of the things that we're going to talk about, we have to keep in mind that our reality is literally influenced by the efforts that we make in thinking about it. And we will talk a little bit more about that as we discover each one of your challenges, and then also talk about what you could do about some of those. But I want to invite a couple of you to share what is happening out there with all of you. That's a regular practice that we do in these webinars, listening to all of you. And we've been speaking to many of you, and you also see this with the survey that we had shared with you. So a quick call, 2 or 3 of you, what's happening out there? What are the challenges that you're experiencing? If we could hear a couple of you. Adir, since you opened up the camera, may I request you to take the honor of speaking first? You're on mute.
Thank
you, Adir.
Sai. Thanks, Sai, for this opportunity. First and foremost, I like this word, tsunami of webinars. So there has been a barrage of webinars. That is number one. Number two is I have been transformed into a virtual facilitator and from a in-person facilitator.
Okay.
So that really calls for a different skill sets altogether.
Okay. So one of the things that you said is that you literally had to take on the entire virtual world. Other than that, what's happening? What's impacting business? What's impacting your clients? What are some of those challenges that you're yourself seeing happening there?
There are some disruptions which are happening, and there are some disruptions which we anticipate to happen. So we are becoming more agile and trying to innovate in order to pick up the disruptions which are going to happen.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm picking up 2 things from you. One, you said that we are now digitally much more dependent to get our work done. And the second is there is a whole host of disruptions that is happening out there. Great. I made a note of that, and somewhere during the call, I'll address this. and try to get you some answers.
Thanks, Sai, for that.
Pleasure. Thank you, Adir, for sharing. A couple of you, I would want you to open up your cameras and open up your microphones and share what's happening.
Yeah, I will take it.
Sure.
This side.
Yes, Majan, please.
Yeah, so if I'll talk about in the last 3 to 4 months since the the thing is that organizations have realized that it's a time to upgrade their infrastructure because earlier it was like dekhte hain jab tak chal raha hai, but now it's like abhi nahi to kabhi nahi kind of thing, right?
Sure.
And
sure.
With that there is also to enhancing it. Now like everything is dependent on virtual platforms only. So sometimes it also like, can we connect our people, we can upskill them, how to enable different platform for them so that they can also get skill simultaneously. The as in a process, whatever the work is going on, that should not be impacted. Now, initially when the entire slowdown happened, the biggest challenge was to engage people simultaneously, also to ensure that business is running, because for an organization is also important how smoothly the business should run, and it should not also impact on the productivity. It should not impact the end client's deliverables. All sort of things.
Sure. Makes sense. So these are all relevant things that are happening around us, Simanjal. Thank you for sharing. And I'll try to address some of these things as we go on during the call. One more, please, if we could get one more input from any of the others. Thank you to the 2 of our participants who spoke up. Any one of you? Chaitali, Pradeep, Ankur, any of you? Baljit, Chas, Rammohan. If you could come live on voice and if you could share what's happening out there. Okay. Looks like no takers for that opportunity. Okay. So here we are in the middle of this crisis, and how did we get here? When we started speaking about some of these things, everything that you will speak about, we are speaking about here, is essentially born out of our own experience of others, and experience of a lot of crisis teams that we have worked on. We will bring you an amalgamation of some business ideas, a couple of people practices, and also some which is synchronized knowledge coming from our own application to business, coaching, sports, therapy, those kind of scenarios that we've been working out of. But let's sort of begin by explaining to ourselves what is this crisis that we are a part of today. Yeah. And what does crisis mean? Let me invite all of you to the chat window. And if you could respond to me in the chat window saying, what does crisis mean to you? If you could respond in 1 or 2 words. In the chat window, please. What does crisis mean to you? Okay. An emergency situation. Others, what does a crisis mean to you? Okay, thank you, Ganesh. Stop business. Others, yeah, Prakash, thank you. Okay, Pradeep, sales issue. Okay, all right. Okay. Kiran, problems. Okay. Major distraction from actual planning. Yes. True. Okay. Intense difficulties. Okay. Arranging funds. Okay. True. All of these things are definitely happening out there. Yes. Thank you for all of your responses. Yeah. So as we were getting ready for this webinar, and we've been talking to people almost for about 4 or 5 months now, Viren, ever since we started speaking about this whole concept.
Yeah, I think 4th April was the first where we started.
So one of the things that we called everybody's attention to was the whole definition of crisis, the way dictionaries look at it. And they call out that it definitely is an emotionally significant event, like a lot of you are calling out. It is also a decisive moment where each of us is called upon to act on and do something about our own futures and what we need to get done out there. But at the same time, a crisis period is also an unstable time, like some of you had worded it out, where we need to go out there and address the challenges that we are experiencing. And last but not the least, it is also something which has reached a very, very critical phase. Now, in that scheme of things, let's also understand that a crisis can be very, very complex when it's a part of a complex system. Now, and if there was a problem with an individual, it would be a little less complex than a problem with a group, than a problem with the society, a problem with the country, etc. Today's crisis is one at a global level. And that's one of the reasons why it is an extremely complex crisis, not because it's difficult to handle from a global perspective. In fact, sometimes when you live in a complex structure, they are far safer. Like a country has a law and order. So a country is far more complex than a family, but still a country will support you possibly in a much larger sense, which a family may not be able to do. So sometimes it's easier to live in a complex system, but when a complex system goes into a crisis, it can be a serious problem. And that's one of the first things that we want you to hold as a thought. Today's crisis is taking very serious turns across the globe. Somewhere it is at the peak, somewhere it's just started. Now imagine this, when this whole crisis started way back in November and December, the Chinese market shut down. And somewhere which is around May, the Chinese market opened, but the rest of the world shut down. Europe is in various phases of opening right now, but just 5 days back, there was this news where all European countries have started isolating Spain again, because there is a second wave. WHO is now warning of a second wave in all of Europe. India, we started opening up and suddenly we see spikes. As of yesterday, we first time clocked 70,000 plus. Imagine how serious this crisis is getting. And that's where the complex system makes it very difficult at times to address, because we have multiple constraints to do. So across the world, it's not just treating corona right now that's the problem. It is about taking care of sentiments of people. It's about making sure livelihoods. It's about making sure that the financial and banking system stays alive. It's also about food security. See the amount of wraps it has gone into. And that's the kind of crisis that we are living in today. Now, in this kind of a crisis, let's understand we are all together. And our collective challenges are much bigger than our individual challenges. We may all feel strained by our individual challenges, but our collective challenges are extremely significant. And we will have to choose our battles very, very carefully. Some of us will have to choose the battle of our careers. Others will have to choose the battle of our societies. Like, look at doctors right now. The only thing that they are busy doing is fighting for society. At the same time, while a lot of us working based on tech, like Adir, you said, all of your work has moved to a digital platform. Not everybody is that lucky. Look at the delivery boys of Swiggy. They have to be out there. I mean, the house that they go to, they don't know if that house is COVID positive or COVID negative, isn't it? So that's the complexity with which we are all dealing with. And each one of us is having to choose our own battles. We have to be very intelligent in these battles. Yeah. We can't go out there and do everything that we possibly have to do. Now, theoretically, what also happens is, as the global complexity, I've just reversed the graph here, what you saw on the previous page to now, the complexity may be less on the individual side and high on the global side. But the other thing that happens is, at a global level, if you see the overall stress, that may not be as high as the stress that an individual family feels. Would you agree to this? Yeah. That the stress that you see in a family will be much larger than the stress that you will see at a global level. That also will happen. I mean, these are the dichotomies that we are dealing with. Again, the kind of resources that a global level or a country level or a society level offers us is far higher than the kind of resources an individual family can ever come up with, or even a group can come up with. And that's where our organizations are at the very precipice of a very, very critical point. So neither are resources very low, nor are they sufficiently high. And in any society also, neither are the resources as high as a global level of resources, nor are they as low as a family's resources. But still, there is enough and more of a strain. That's the kind of challenge that we are dealing with at this point in time, and it is making all of us go crazy. Look at what CII said some time back. These are the kind of impacts. There were about 120 million people impacted about 3 months back. The latest report is about 35% of them have returned back to work. The others are still out of work. I was just reading a news item 2 or 3 days back, which said close to about 50 million salaried people have lost their jobs in this crisis. That's a huge amount of people. Now, we don't know the segregation yet of that data of how many of them were entry-level jobs, how many of them were middle or senior-level jobs, but that's the huge number in the economy. McKinsey screamed out about 4 months back saying that there is going to be significant impact in all sorts of industries if this challenge continues. And you know what, just 2 days back, 3 days back, some data got published in Economic Times, and I just have a quick snapshot of this. I'm sorry about the crooked photograph, but if you see the top levels here, all the way right at the top that you see, all of these industries have degrown or shown negative revenues in year on year. Now, this doesn't mean to say that they possibly had zero revenue. All it says is that as compared to previous year, hospitality was at a minus 85%. Yeah. Real estate was a minus 69%. Look at oil and gas. In some senses, oil and gas going down is good because environment benefits, but still that much money did not get circulated in the system. Automobiles, a 51% reduction as compared to last year. So these are some real life statistics as we are talking about in the here and now. And this is just about 2 days back, I think, when I saw this in the Economic Times. Those are the times that we are living in and the kind of crisis that we are dealing with. At Challenging Horizons, we have also been speaking to leaders like yourself. And what we found ourselves was there was a significant amount of leaders who said that they're going to need support to get out of this crisis. And here is a summary of what we heard from the people that we spoke with. Number one, they are hearing that resources are, some are available, some are scarce. We heard leaders say that you need to adapt to whatever is available. There's also this very big voice which is saying, let's just share whatever we can, think of collective success and borrow if you get. So that is the crisis that we are a part of. Yeah. Good context for all of you as we begin this. I'm going to get you to get to the chat windows and give me a quick view of how you see the context, and if there is anything else that you would like to add to the current crisis that you are witnessing out there that we did not summarize. Yeah, Adil, thank you. Others, anything else that you would like to add about the current crisis that you're seeing out there? It'll be interesting to see if some of you have some of the viewpoints other than us. All of you to keep inputting into the chat windows. Yeah, there are about 15 of us out there, and we expect a good amount of interactivity with all of you. Okay, so keep your chat windows open and keep responding to what we are saying. Okay. Thank you. Now, what we are presenting to you today is coming from our leadership development space, and there are these 6 critical modules that we talk about in a lot of our leadership development journey. So all this content is also vetted, and it's coming from our own proprietary content, everything from digital organization to leading to execution, etc. And you'll see some of the glimpses of this. Yeah. Pradeep, yes. Thank you, Pradeep, for that input. There's a whole host of rate bargaining issue. And all of these things are actually happening out there. Okay. So, when we talk about this, we have various levels. What you're seeing today is just a preview content from all of the webinars, that we do in this series. For some of you, and Viren will be talking to you about this, that if you want to get deeper into some of our content, we also give you the opportunity, though, this is not about just selling this to you, but we are wanting to keep you informed that all of this content is coming from our leadership development stable. There are deeper things like the playbook. There is also an immersion and a coaching program that we do based on this workshop. And we will preview some of those tools for you in this module itself. Let me take you to the first tool, and it will be about understanding. Now, some of you who were speaking in the beginning, like Adhir, Shivanchalam, you were mentioning, your own take on what's happening there in this crisis with all of you. Here are a few things that we need to focus on. There are 4 areas which are very, very crucial when crises like these hit, that any system, let me call it, needs to take care of. Now, when I say system, that means a society needs to take care of it, or a bank, or an organization, or a government, or anything that will need to take care of it. But very, very pertinent to any organized commercial establishment are these 4 categories of things that we need to do in a crisis management. Why do we need to handle these crises? Because in a crisis, morale and productivity cannot be sacrificed. If we end up sacrificing morale and productivity, it is going to further create a chaos for us. So while we are in that space of dealing with things, to ensure that we have the right kind of morale and productivity, the first thing that we need to do is manage our strategy. Yeah. Now, what could managing strategy mean? I want all of you to get to your chat windows for a quick moment. And, each one of you who's coming from an organization or who owns a business, I want you to quickly tell me what could... okay, can I request all of you to be on mute, please? There is some background noise which is coming up. Yeah. Please get to your chat window and share what could it mean in your organizations to manage your strategy. What could it mean? What does it mean to manage strategy in a crisis like this? Okay, yeah, managing your offers, managing kind of inputs that are coming through. Okay. What else? What else could it be? Yeah. Thank you. Keep your inputs coming. Yeah. Okay. Innovating by meeting agile. Okay. What else? Yeah. So managing the strategy would essentially mean talking about things. Yeah. So Kiran, I will hold on to expenses. It's one of the other category. Yeah. Adhir, it's staying relevant. Shivanchalam, yes, it is also, looking at how planning, etc. needs to be done. Yes. Yeah. Designing. Yes, absolutely. So there are 3 or 4 aspects of strategy that need to be managed in a crisis like this. One of them is, what do we need to do to stay afloat, keep our organization still running? Another thing that we need to focus on is to absolutely make sure that you're putting relevant products out there. Now, I'll give you a typical example. There's a client that I work with who, before this whole crisis struck, was doing something in the auto ancillary, sector. And Viren, this was what, the first or second time that we were doing this webinar when that gentleman came up who started the food processing industry?
Yeah, it was second.
Yeah. So this is very interesting.
Middle April.
Middle April, yes. So, we were talking to all of these leaders from across the globe, and suddenly there's this gentleman who comes up and says, will it be interesting to diversify in this situation? And we said, why not? And then this gentleman got talking with us, and, we exchanged a few ideas. And he went on, he started a food processing industry. And while in the lockdown, there were a lot of factories which were shut down. Here is a person who with some minimal investment, went out and started putting out packaged food out there, which was absolutely the requirement of the society. And about 2 months, he had his business completely up and running. Now, here is industries which are shut down, and here is a businessman who literally diversifies in this crisis. And not just that, there are so many other people who have done things like these. Some are manufacturing PPEs, some others are manufacturing other things to help garbage disposal of medicine and medical industry. There are yet others who have started various kinds of home delivery services, and you name it. So the question that we would like to ask you, and here's the first question that you need to take a note of from this webinar, which is, what is that element of your strategy that you need to be managing? Yeah. And if you can get that answer, then you can get the second answer right, that for that strategy to be enabled, how do I go out and manage my finances? Very, very often, you will see a lot of people in this crisis have been making a lot of noise out there saying, yeah, they're absolutely looking for those opportunities. You know, people have been talking about managing cash flows, and people have been talking about servicing debt and all of those kind of things, and paying salaries. And there are some individuals in this, especially entrepreneurs and also some organizations, which said that we are not going to sit idle. We are not going to try and sell the same kind of products that we were doing before this crisis, because their strategy departments or their strategy advisors helped them see and understand that this crisis could go on for a fairly long time. Yeah. And let's just get a sense of that. I would request you to just take a quick minute and get to the chat window and type the various kind of industries each one of you is from. And then I will address that issue also. Now, coming back to the point that I was making, a lot of people, because of the good advice that they were coming from, they very, very quickly moved themselves into a space where they found another opportunity to service. Sanitizers, maybe plastic goods, and like I was saying, waste disposal or food delivery or home meal that they were servicing, and various things. Yeah, we know of somebody who deals with paints and coatings, Vermeer, who started getting into chemical treatments and sanitization of office spaces. Yeah, so various people took these various opportunities, and hence they had an idea of what kind of finances did they need to manage. A lot of people also took their staff and repositioned them as people doing something else. For them, it was very, very easy to manage those finances then. So here is a call out and a shout out for all of you. Instead of just worrying about how do we really sort of manage finances. So this is a very wrong part to start in a crisis like this. Where we need to actually start in a crisis like this is first ask ourselves this question: what is my strategy? If I can manage my strategy, then I can get around and manage my finances. If I'm going to start with managing my finances, I will never be able to manage my strategy. Does everyone register this? Yeah, if you register this, please quickly get to your chat window and say yes, so that I know that you have caught hold of this point. It's a very, very critical point that you need to understand. That manage your strategy, you will be able to manage your finances. If you're just going to try and manage your finances, it's going to become extremely critical for you to get this done, right? Now, for large corporates, a lot of them said that though we are getting into a shutdown state, we are going to do process improvement. We are going to do old client servicing. They said that, we are going to fix the issues of current crisis, current clients that we had. So all of this was focusing on strategy. And because they did this, we know of some companies, confidentiality, we can't call out their names, but they literally have doubled their revenue. Now, I'll give you a classical case of this client of mine. Okay, and listen to these numbers very, very carefully that I'm talking about. This is a very small business. Okay, so some of you how many of you are small business owners here? Anybody here who's a small business owner? With operating with 5, 10, 15 sort of people, or small revenues of 1 to 5 crores. Anybody? Yeah, no? Okay. So anyway, this example will be relevant to all of you. Now, they discovered that, now let's say, for example, there was a revenue X that they had done in February month. And February is a decently good month for them. They were doing that revenue with, let's say, Y people. Okay. What we saw was that in the month of in July, which just went by, we just did the revenue analysis. They were operating with 20% of their staff, 0.2 Y. Wild guess. Why could that be? And here is a very wild guess. Why could that be? In the month of February, they were doing X as a revenue. And in month of July, with only 20% of that staff, they did 1.2X of the revenue. Any guesses? Anybody? Why could they achieve this? Why could they achieve this? No? No guesses?
I think Sai, we can also ask to just unmute and speak, since it's a small group. Yeah.
Everybody open, yes, absolutely. Anybody who wants to unmute and speak can also do that instead of Kishore. Okay, reducing staff. Think a little bit more. SSK Consulting online and digital. No, it was definitely not online and digital. What else? Anybody else? Anybody wants to open up their mics and speak? Take a guess. Okay. So, okay. All right. Yeah. So management definitely improved. So what they did definitely was, with the sharper focus that they could achieve in the month of April and May, they spent time with me to streamline their processes. What we found was 60% of their clients could actually be serviced with 2 machines. And we invested in those 2 machines in the crisis. Now, anyways, the staff could not come because their staff was traveling, and travel was banned up until end of May. But within the month of April and May, we invested in 2 machines, which was servicing 60%. Now, with just the reduced staff that we had, and with the 2 new machines, we actually improved the management. Kishore, thank you so much. That was the right answer on focus and management. And today, in July, we closed the month with 1.2Y of the revenue of February month. That's how crises like this can bring you amazingly critical opportunities. Now, we definitely plan to get all our staff back. We're not intending to fire any of them, or all of that stuff that is happening. Some attrition may happen because some people have gone back to their hometowns, etc. But when we get our staff back to the same levels with those machines, imagine where our revenue is going to be. Yeah. So some bare calculations tell us that it will get to about 3.6x of 3.6y of what it was in February. So that's the kind of improvements that this crisis presents to us. Okay, so this was a quick case study on this. Now, what that also does is, for some of you who are asking us, how do you manage sales, etc. Again, you need to get your strategy right. We are seeing, and Viren, I think we saw this with about 60% companies, right? They are, in spite of this crisis, they are still trying to sell the same products the same way, not wanting to change anything, right? 60% was the number.
Yes, that in the survey which we did.
Yes. So what's happening out there is a lot of industries are also holding themselves very rigid. They are saying, we will just not change. We want the normal to come back. So let's again understand, for those of you who are interested in this whole sales purpose, that if you're going to hold yourself very rigid to saying we will not change in spite of this crisis, we are going to want things to return to their normal as they were before this crisis started. Some of it may just not happen. And that is going to make you not only lose customers who are anticipating and wanting you to do something different, it can also create significant challenges for you in terms of your own gains. So we will again say, find a strategy, find the right finances, and then sort of get around and streamline sales. And that's where, like some of you have inputted online, digital, home servicing and delivery, all of this. Like give you an example of a pet clinic in Gurgaon where I stay. This pet clinic had multiple branches, and they never used to do any home visit. They never entertained home visits. Even at the middle of the night, if you needed something, they had a 24-hour clinic in Gurgaon where you could take your pet. Of all their branches, 1 or 2 would remain open all through the night for addressing emergency. But within about a few weeks of this crisis precipitating, they opened up their staffs for home delivery. And as a result, their sales went up, significantly went up. I know of a product company that I'm coaching and consulting with. What they did was they spent their 2 or 3 months in dealer and distributor education and development. So by the time the market started opening up, their dealers and distributors were trained on not just their billing system and ERP, but on various other cultural aspects, branding aspects, and all of that stuff. So some of you who are coming from sales and delivery, you also will have to start thinking of very different ways of addressing this market and this challenge. And we will talk about some of that in the next few slides. And last but not the least is you also focusing on practicing effective leadership. And this is about behaviors, etc. We will talk about in next few sections what this could be about. So in a nutshell, these are some of the things that we are calling out there for all of you to do, service, and manage. Hopefully this is a good model for you to refer to, that when you're in the times of crisis and uncertainty like this, your focus should be on 4 key pillars. Manage your strategy, manage your finances, manage your streamlining of your sales and delivery, and last but not the least, get the right effective leadership practices running out there. And our success, our focus at Challenging Horizons has been to do these with our clients, and especially the top 2 on the left hand side, which is managing strategy and practicing effective leadership, is what we keep on working with, because if that gets done, everything else follows through. I'm going to pause here to take any questions, because this is a very critical model from our leadership development work that we have introduced. So all of you who have been asking questions and sharing, you can open up your microphones and ask questions here. Adhir, Simanchalam, the elements that you brought out right at the beginning, hope this addresses some of that, yeah? The change of strategy, the change of managing sales and finances, etc. Okay? Quickly, please, if you could either get to the chat windows and ask your questions, or you could also open up your microphones and ask some questions. Any questions here? Any questions up until here? All right. So, no takers? Cool. So, very quickly ask yourselves, are you managing these factors? And you could be managing these yourself and also with help. Because this is the other thing that Viren and I found when we were talking to leaders out there. A good 50-60% of the leaders out there said that we are going to need some professional help for us to come out of this crisis, for us to respond to this crisis and get our organizations up and running. Adhir, did you raise your hands for something? Adhir, I can see that you raised your hand.
Yeah. Can I, I've got a query.
Please.
Yeah. In the current pandemic situation, one of the asks from a leadership is to maintain the morale of the, organization as high.
Beautiful.
So yes. What sort of leadership, what is that leadership should be doing to keep the morale high of the organization?
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that question, because you set me up absolutely to get to the next section, Adhir. Okay, so here is what I would recommend. I think, Viren, we're going to circulate that article on crisis, this thing, the behaviors that I wrote. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so there's a beautiful article that I published earlier this year, Adhir. This is something that all of you are going to get as, as a return from this session. And the philosophy of that is right here, that morale is an expression of work, which talks about the emotional health of the organization. Now, here's the article that I published, Trust and Collaboration Like Never Before. Please take a look at this article. I have called out some very, very minimal yet critical behaviors for leaders to have in this kind of a situation. So one of the key things that I was telling people is that we are yet to see the heights of what was possible in a VUCA world. Everybody thought digital is coming, something else is happening, Gen X is coming, some financial structures will start, digital currency is coming. All of that is really the VUCA words. VUCA, by the way, is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, for those of you who are not familiar with that term. Till February, that's what we thought, that is what the VUCA world is. But suddenly, the COVID crisis came and showed us how volatile this world can actually be. And that crisis is not over. There are many, many things that are happening. If you go to places like Middle East, there's a very different kind of crisis that is brewing there. The whole tension between China and US and a couple of the other countries, including India, that's another volatility that the world is facing. Now, in all of these kind of volatilities, we sometimes have to put up a fight that we may not have been trained with, Adhir. Okay, so this is one of the messages that you can take back to leaders, that we may be having to deal with crises that we have not been trained with. So we will also have to, get away with a few things, do away with a few things which are preventing us from getting better in the way that we are living. But ultimately, each one of us definitely has the courage deep down inside of us to respond to these challenges, and definitely the technology that can drastically change our lives. But the most important things that all of us need to be doing is change our attitudes, behaviors, and habits so that we can be much, much more agile. So when you read this article, and Adhir, here's a direct answer for you to take back. 3 behaviors, which are large umbrellas. Number 1, be trusting. So that means that trust the capabilities of other people to help you. Number 2, be trustworthy, which means be responsive, be responsible, do things which are in the better interest of everybody, no selfishness. These are some of those things that leaders need to pick up for doing crisis management in a situation like this. And then very, very important is also the fact that you need to be collaborative and coexisting. When you read this article, it calls out readily 20 enabler behaviors that can be literally implemented in any organization or family setup. By just reading this and understanding this, they are so simple to do. And there are also 12 behavioral patterns for you to avoid doing in a situation like this. Okay, so the be trusting, be trustworthy, and the coexisting behaviors, these have been further subdivided into 20 enabler behaviors. Adhir, hope this answers your question of leadership challenges. Yes?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sai.
Pleasure. And this is industry agnostic, it's society and culture agnostic, because in crises like these, when emotions are running high, the kind of leadership that has to be there has to be something that inspires trust in people, inspires safety in people, inspires people to work together rather than work with each other. And a big challenge for crisis management like this can be competitive behavior. A lot of organizations, the culture is still very, very competitive in a cutthroat fashion. And those are organizations which are going to seriously suffer in situations and crises like this. So that's one big call out for all of you out there. So do read this article and implement those behaviors. And what you will see also is that to implement these behaviors, we call upon what is called a leadership response system. So when you participate with us in the larger program, the leadership immersion, we do this work individually with all of you and prepare a coaching plan for your organization. And what we help organizations understand is that everyone needs to have resilience, survival, revival, and reshaping as a strategy. But in a crisis like this, what we need to do utmost is that we need to learn how to manage survival, revival, and reshaping. Some of you are asking, thank you for responding. Viren, I think your response came only to me privately. It didn't go to the public. Yeah. So for all of you, Viren and team is going to send out the article to all of you. So coming back to this model, we talk about this. So keep these words in mind that as this crisis is brewing, everything that you have to do, resilience is not going to play a part just yet, because this is about building capacity before a crisis has happened. But when a crisis has struck, what you actually need to be doing is focusing on survival, focusing on revival, and focusing on reshaping yourself after that. But to build this in sequence for you, the first step that we do in survival is just weathering the storm. See what happens. If there is a challenge that has come up, you'll try to stay alive and stay together and clear. That's what survival essentially means. So for any organization also, as you're coming out of this crisis, first go into a survival mode. Ready, keep your lifelines, make intelligent actions that will keep you afloat. And thereafter, talk about revival and coming to your full fold. It may be very difficult for you to come out and get to the same level that you were in February. And to get to that level, maybe you'll also have to reshape yourself, is what we essentially say in this leadership response system, which is a proprietary technology of ours. Yeah. Now, let's say, for example, you are a sales organization, and here is a worked out example for you. Leave alone resilience, but survival, what you would have done, you would have managed your cash flow, you would have kept your ecosystem maintained, you would have kept your systems, etc. ready, you would have made sure that there are emergency purchases which are taken care of. And once the market opens, you will get to revival. So you look at sales revival. But how would you do sales revival? You do that by making what is selling, not generally just making everything that you were making before the crisis has stuck and getting held with inventory and sometimes unusable inventory. You would have literally gone out and made sure that you make what sells, and then sometimes even make what is needed. Try to do something else which is over and above your current manufacturing capability. And a lot of organizations have done this kind of thing. And at the end of the day, that changing orientation brings you to reshaping, where restructuring of the organization, repositioning, like we know of multiple of our clients who are reshaping their satellite offices in such a way that they are getting distributed into the very towns where people are coming from. Because a lot of people and your staff has gone to their natives. A lot of organizations are finding it easy right now, and maybe you'll just find it hard to believe, but that's exactly what is happening, that they are actually getting their salespeople and service staff, etc., who are in their natives, to help them to open up a sales and service network in those cities where they earlier were not present. So the question is, and I think Viren, isn't this one of those major questions that we've been talking with leaders about? That how are you seeing this crisis? Are you seeing this crisis as an opportunity or as a situation when all doors are closed? Isn't it, Viren?
Right. And I think a lot of the few of the pharma companies, although there was a maybe a blessing in disguise, but not to say in that way, but still they were also struggling to some point.
Yeah. And so many other people, like there are many people who have actually unbelievably so gone into an entrepreneurial avatar in this situation. Some have started a home kitchen service. There are still others who are, who have started a delivery business. There are yet others who have started digital education, and you know it. So here's the big encouragement. Please look at this model that we have put out there. This is one of our proprietary technologies, and it's for your benefit. When you come into one of our programs, we work with you to develop a business plan around this, but this is largely one of those things that we are doing. Now, how could you do this? So the way to implement this tool is very, very simple. What we encourage you to do is define what is your core purpose in this crisis. What are you going to want to do? Whether it is survival, revival, or reshaping, your core purpose is going to be different. It's not going to be the same thing. Then to action that core purpose, you need to have 3 top focuses. Out of those focuses, you need to have some enablers to achieve this and primary activities. We recently did this exercise for a manufacturing company, and we are going to use that example to show you this. Now, the manufacturing facility, like a lot of organizations today, wanted to take care of their financial velocity, which means the rate at which money was coming to them, necessarily not profits, financial velocity, because they also had a lot of inventory from the month of February and March that they had not been able to clear. So we started asking them the question, what could your focus be? How would you achieve, etc.? And here are some of the responses that come up. The top focus for financial velocity came out to be responsive to customers and to people. Now I've written the short form so that you can see this on the screen. It was then also called out that the top focus would be to engage, and last but not the least, it is to put out products out there which were sensible. We dig deeper, and then what we found was that the response had to be very need-based to both customers and employees, and it also had to have some value which worked for them. Likewise, the engagement had to be rapid and meaningful, and the products had to be current and, again, value for money. So the moment this chart came out in front of this organization that we were working with, they literally chose to not work with 50% of the SKUs that they had before the lockdown had started happening. And immediately within a couple of weeks, the rest of the SKUs were absolutely drawing in revenues for them. Why? Because what they chose to do was responded with speed. They served even, as a medium at times, even if they were not able to fulfill their needs, they did that. Yeah. And then last but not the least, they also brought in a lot of addressing of emotions, and they helped serve all the stocks, and very, very critically, this organization, what they also did was they added new features and they added new products. So that's the criticality with which they went out there and did things. Now the rest of this tool is very, very easy to implement. We are also giving you this tool as a result. Constraints are what are the problems that you need to solve. Man marking is putting your best people on, and the outcomes that you desire. And last but not the least can be some irrelevant distractors, and I'm going to cover this in the next slide, so not talking about that here. So this is what we call our selectiveness to effectiveness tool. Please take this tool and work for yourself, and when you come into some of our workshops, you have hundreds of such tools that we talk about, and especially in our overall course, we have about 24 of these tools that we cover when you come to our immersion program. Yeah, so that's that. Sunil, there is some noise which is coming from your end. If you can just go on mute, please. Viren, if you could mute Sunil's line.
Done that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. And, we often call out these factors that in a crisis like this, anger, grief, exhaustion, instigation by people, naysayers, indulgence, these can be big things that can create challenges for us. And how do you really overcome this? You overcome this by giving people the right line of sight, attentiveness, the right crispness, investment, novelty, grace, etc. We're not doing this tool in detail because it almost takes us a couple of hours to talk about this tool, which is again a part of our overall leadership development and immersion program. Again, like if some of you are interested, please dial us up, and we will show you how in your organization these 6 critical red blocks that you see can be killed. So we call this process lacing the aging. Now, for an organization to come out of crisis, lacing the aging is a very, very critical process that you need to do. You will have to kill the anger, the grief, the exhaustion, the instigation, the naysayer, and the gluttony, which is indulgence, go away. And that can only happen by all of you making the right kind of line of sight, the right attentiveness in the organization, the right crispness, the investments, novelty and grace, etc. And we have a process to work with you, to coach you, to develop this for any organizational context that we have. Again, this is a industry agnostic model that we have, a proprietary copyright technology of ours. Happy to help you work with some of these things. Please get in touch with us if you like this and you want to talk more about it. Yeah. So what we basically covered here was that to get out of your crisis situation, you need to have a response mechanism. We spoke about the 4 response mechanisms. You need to cover strategy. You need to arrange the right finances that fit the strategy, not run after finances just yet. Then with the kind of strategy and kind of finances, you have to fine tune your sales and your delivery. And last but not the least, hold all of them together using your leadership practices. We also spoke about preventing aging and creating lacing, but more about that when you come into deeper forces. All of this that we cover, and this is the last thing that we wanted to call out, what we fundamentally help you do even to manage a crisis like this is bring in a culture change. We work with you to design impact, systematize all the measures within your culture, and that's what great strategy stands for. And then we help you execute to the plan and also measure what came out of that execution. This, my friends, is great execution for you. Then if you make sense of the impact and if it is good enough, and that's a great review mechanism. But if you do all of these processes over and over again, that is great behavior in an organization. A lot of people ask us very, very regularly that what is the formula to change culture? And the culture can only get changed when you do all of these steps. You have to bring in great strategy, you have to bring in great execution, you have to bring in great reviews, and you have to bring in great behavior. So it's somewhat of an iterative process. As you create culture, you have to create performance. And as you create a performance, the culture keeps getting created. It's not that you have to create one and the other one comes up. It's literally what you do hand in hand, and you have to reinforce it. That's what we fundamentally were calling out through all of these steps that we called for you. So if you've enjoyed what we shared here and all the things that you responded to, we look forward to you connecting with us and taking these steps further. Viren, I'm pretty much done with what I wanted to share. I can take a Q&A, but I would wait for you to cover your section and then possibly come back to a Q&A. Over to you. Thank you, everyone, and I'll be back with you in a moment for Q&A while Viren talks about the rest of our program.
Sure, Sai. If you can just stop sharing your screen.
I did. Do you want me to project?
No, I'll do that. Just a second. Yeah, great. Thank you, Sai. And see, in this, the overall idea of this session is to at least give you an awareness and give you an insight that there is a possibility to revive the businesses. There is a possibility to revive the things you are doing at your end. It requires a strategic approach, and what we have just shared is just few of the samples, few of the templates which you can use at your end. We'll be definitely sharing you the research what we have done in this area, which can at least give you some navigation to work if you wanted to work it yourself and find out some solutions around managing things in this kind of a critical situation. Apart from that, what we have created is a program where we are going to address these kind of questions in a more deeper way. What this program is all about, these are the 6 different topics which we are going to cover, and each of these sessions are having a specific implementation tool. So you got a chance to look at the aging tool, you got a chance to look at a resilient model. Now there are various templates which Sai has created, which can guide and help a leader, a business owner, or an organization leader to take actions very specific and in contextual to his role and his business. Now all these sessions are well crafted with the thought process which can help you to take action. There are 2 ways where we are doing these sessions. The first is what you got as a preview, where you get a awareness about that how you need to address these situations. Now what I'm sharing is a playbook. The playbook is a more deeper concept where we cover these 6 sessions, both in the live session format, where in the similar setup we'll be doing a live session. We also have a pre-recorded session where you yourself can go through these sessions, and once you're done with these sessions, we'll give you a one touch point where you can come back with your questions and if you need support. In live sessions, we go deeper into the concepts, and we also help you in answering questions since it's a live sessions. So, and third is at an organization level, I can see that few of you represent various organizations where we partner with these organizations and where we do in-house session in the form of an application and a coaching format, where we go and when we initiate these interventions, we also pick up your specific business case, business challenge, and align these sessions towards for achieving that specific business goal. So that's the mode where we deliver, and the entire approach towards this is a rapid learning, where we if you see that what we have shared is only tools during this session. It will also help you to go for a rapid implementation, and definitely the sessions are designed virtually, so you don't have to travel anywhere, and it can be just attended by sitting at your home. And the fourth most important part, it's very much focused towards achieving results. Now, this program, as I mentioned, there are two ways where you can partner with us. One is joining our live session, which will be starting on 20th of September, where the next batch will be starting. There will be again a close group of people from different industries, and they will be coming. And if you wish to join, we'll share you the link where you can just enroll for the live session. We are also recording these session where it can help as a one-way communication, because from the past batches what we have conducted, a lot of people recommended and suggested that there are time constraints. Can we make these sessions available and to learn at our own pace, because these concepts are more deep. It required deeper understanding and also the implementation part. So we are also parallelly recording these sessions. These sessions will also be available from 20th of September. But if you wish to enroll and take benefit of few of the offers which we are giving to the people who are attending our webinar, you can join in. We'll also share the link with you. Third is, if you are at an organization level, you wanted to conduct these sessions, reach out to us, write it to us. You already have my email ID, and we'll support you with a larger intervention where you can go deeper in applying these sessions with your specific group of people with a specific business objective to be covered. People who are joining for this webinar, we have also included respecting your time, respecting you came forward and invested 1.5 hours with us. We'll be giving each participant 2 bonus personal coaching sessions where Sai will interact one-to-one with you, investing time with you in terms of supporting any specific goal you wanted to achieve through these coaching sessions. So this is all what we have to offer. And apart from that, the most important part is we are starting our private weekly community calls, where every week there is a dedicated 45 minutes of sessions. You'll be a part of that group. The overall idea is to share maximum knowledge, get more industry speakers, and this is only for people who are part of our learning community. So you'll get access to that session also. So these are the 6 sessions which we are going to cover on a pre-recorded session, in a live session, and also when we are doing at an organization level. So that's all from my end, and we are all open for questions, and we love to answer all the questions if you have. I'll just stop sharing my screen and would recommend to open up rather than using a chat. We can just answer the questions. I can request if you can come on screen.
Right here,
and,
right here.
We have Kostu, good to see you. We just connected on mail I think day before yesterday. And Kostu, if you have any specific question, we'll be more than happy to answer. Professor Dr. Dinesh Gupta will be more than happy to answer if you have any question. Kiran, Sunil, Ramon, if any questions if you have, we'll be more than happy to answer.
Sure, Viren, I think no questions just yet. So good time for us to close.
So thank you so much for joining, and we'll be coming up with more sessions under Skill India Movement. Keep your inboxes, eye on their inboxes, and register for all these sessions. Share this knowledge in your network. And with that, I wish you a great success. Keep learning, keep growing.
Thank you everyone for being here.